In this video, we are going to look at two examples. One example is multiplying complex numbers. The second example is dividing complex numbers. Okay, now this is from a trig standpoint. First and foremost, this right here is going to be your multiplication form. So this is the form that you use when you multiply your trig. So what you need to notice is we are going to have two magnitudes here. You're going to have an angle 1 and an angle 2. And so when we multiply these two individual trig forms together, what you can see happens is you're going to multiply those magnitudes together, and then when you create your trig form, you're adding the angles. Okay, so once again, to multiply them together says you multiply the magnitudes, but you're adding the angles. Division, so let me cover up this one here. So this is going to be our division. Here is that I have one term divided by the other. So in order to do division, says you're going to divide your magnitudes and you're going to subtract your angles. So these two formulas are very similar in what they're doing. However, the magnitudes is what matches your operation here. Now again, multiply means add your angles, division means divide. So let's go ahead, we're going to look at an example of each so that you can see how it works. So this first one says to multiply or divide and leave answers in trig notation. So we're not simplifying or evaluating, we're leaving in trig notation. So as a reminder, trig notation is z times the cosine of your angle plus I sine of your angle is the trig notation we're looking for. So here, this right here tells us that we are going to multiply. So when we multiply, there's two things we have to remember. First, that says we are going to multiply your z terms. And then the second is that you are going to add your angles. Okay, so that is the two things we need to remember here. The z terms are the outermost terms. So here, what we're going to end up with is we're going to end up with 2.5 times 4.5. We're going to open a bracket, and we are going to now have the cosine of my first angle is 35, and we have to add it to my second angle, 21. Now this is plus I sine, again, my first angle is 35, and we're going to add it to the second angle, 21. So do the math. 2.5 times 4.5 is going to give me 11.25, or 11.25. And then this is going to be times the cosine. 35 plus 21 is 56, plus I sine of 56. Now, here is a tip or trick. When you are writing these, your two angles for cosine and sine should come out to be exactly the same. If they come out to be two different numbers, you've made a mistake somewhere. Now let's look at one more example here. So notice in this one I'm dividing. How do I know? Because I have a numerator and a denominator. So in order to divide, so this right here says that we are going to divide. Again, says that I have two ideas I have to keep in mind. First, says that I have to divide your z terms. And the second says that I need to subtract your angles. So let's go ahead and work this out. So here I am going to have 1/2 divided by 3/8. I'm going to open a bracket here. So this is now going to be the cosine numerator minus denominator. So this is going to be 2 pi over 3 minus pi over 6. Let's do it again. plus I sine top minus bottom, 2 pi over 3 minus pi over 6. So again, what did we actually do to subtract angles? We do top minus the bottom, or numerator minus denominator. So here we have a couple fraction rules that we have to follow. First and foremost, we can work with the easy one. So if we look at the number out on side, we need to remember that the rule for a fraction divided by a fraction says that you need to multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. So here we're going to do 1/2 times 8 over 3. Now with this, you would multiply and reduce. So when I first look at this, what I see right away is that 8 and 2 have something in common. This reduces to 4, this reduces to 1. Therefore, 1/2 times 8/3 is going to give me 4/3. Now, when we're combining fractions, so if we're looking here inside the bubbles, we need to remember that you need to have a common denominator. So here I have 3 and 6. My common denominator is going to be 6. So this means I have to multiply this fraction by 2. So I'm going to have 2 over 2 times my 2 pi over 3, and I'm subtracting that from pi over 6. Here 2 times 2 is going to give me 4 pi over 6 minus pi over 6. So this equals 3 pi over 6, which is going to be the same as pi over 2. So once you do the 2 math work, now you just simply have to plug it in. So this simplifies to being 4/3 cosine of pi over 2 plus I sine of pi over 2. And there you have it. Multiplying and dividing complex numbers. The biggest thing to remember with these is that you simply have to follow your fraction rules. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I will see you next time.